Never before had the two moved with such haste. After Casper quickly landed in a clearing, they hopped off his back and sprinted through the trees as the sun began to dip behind the distant mountains. Evelyn burst through the front door to find a startled Maze, who was pouring hot wax into a wall sconce. Neo rushed in behind her.
Oof! What in the blue blazes?
Mace, we bring news of Rolstead. You should probably sit down.
Neo and Evelyn shared every detail of their brief expedition, as Maze quietly listened, his expression becoming more and more grave.
Perhaps it was unwise of me to send you off as I did. It sounds like you were mere inches from death.
We handled ourselves.
Not without some scratches and marks. That's a nasty bruise on your neck there. What was it they were saying? Spawn of
Enta.
This whole situation is quite strange. Enta is an ancient deity that used to be worshipped, but her followers died out centuries ago.
So, I'm the descendant of an old god?
Highly unlikely. As you said, those people didn't quite have their grips about them, so I would pay it no mind. But from what you've told me, it sounds like we're dealing with a serious threat.
Why haven't you taught us about this kind of magic before? Is it too dangerous?
As far as I know, this magic doesn't even exist. The War Council will need to hear about this.
So, what do we do?
You will stay here and rest. I will head to the capital tomorrow at dawn. The court wizard will likely be interested in this info as well. Come, let's make some notes.
Maze and Neo retreated to his study, as Evelyn filled a bucket of leftover meat to give to Casper. While she trekked through the forest to where the dragon resided, Neo recounted every detail of what he had seen, felt, and heard from his interaction with the dark magic. Maze quickly scribbled his words on a parchment.
Are you certain you have dispelled it entirely from your being?
I believe so.
And your neck?
Some kind of poison leaked from the woman's mouth, but Evelyn helps me heal the wound through.
Well, in the interest of security, allow me to inspect. It seems you are right. The best thing now is to rest. I imagine the War Council will want you and Evelyn to accompany any operation they deem necessary.
Why us? You have more expertise.
That is true, but as far as we know, you are the expert on this kind of magic. If it is not known to me, then it is unknown to the elite wizards of Orisun, unless they were all lying.
I understand. But I don't feel prepared for a genuine battle. What we did back there, that was just survival.
What is a battle to a soldier if not survival? The only difference is numbers. War comes despite preparedness, so the best response is to simply respond.
I suppose you're right. Evelyn is more disturbed by it than I am.
You might console her then. She trusts you. I should prepare for the night. I have some urgent travel ahead of me.
Neo nodded and departed, wandering into the hallway. He sighed, exhaustion from the day taking claim to his body, and went straight to bed. That night, however, Neo's mind was tormented with terrifying visions and dreams, as a remnant of Laraxos' dark magic had gone unnoticed and latched onto his soul like a parasite. He tossed and turned in fitful sleep, unable to completely awaken. Brilliant rays of sunlight filtered into the room, spilling onto the floor and illuminating the walls as birds chirped and the trees of the forest sighed while a gentle breeze moved through the branches. Neo cracked his eyes open and smacked his dry lips. A wretched flavor remained in his mouth, and his throat felt like parchment. As he rose from his bed, it felt as if his entire body weighed 10 times more, and he nearly collapsed back into the sheets. But he worked through the lethargy as he dressed himself and descended the stairs to find Evelyn at the table writing on some parchment. Her face lit up, and she rose to greet him with a warm hug.
There you are. You don't look so great.
I don't feel so great.
Sit down. You should eat something.
As Neo took a chair, still blinking the sleep from his eyes, Evelyn disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a mug of water and buttered bread.
Thanks. What are you writing?
This is a letter to my parents. Just keeping them updated with life lately. Of course, I'm keeping details very limited about our trip to Ralstead.
Why's that?
If I wrote everything that happened, my mother would lose her mind.
I hadn't thought of that. It did turn out to be pretty dangerous. I'm gonna meditate. Hopefully that will make me feel better.
All right. I'll be here, writing.
He stepped out into the brisk morning air, a measure of frost remaining on the tips of grass and trees. A little too brisk for his liking, he shivered, and bolstered the air around him with warmth as he made his way through the trees to his favorite place of meditation. He sat down on the ground in front of the ethereal pool of water, where Maze had taken him to confront himself many nights previous, and let the mana flow through his body. There he remained for hours, wandering in deep contemplation, as he toyed with various forms of spells and charms. The soil beneath became enriched with residual magic, further enhancing the surface of water that was his playground for ideas. Neo's mind became lost in the sea of magic, tendrils of energy wisping about the air, and suddenly he noticed something. Upon examining himself, his own soul, there he saw a fragment that was alien to him. He focused on it and found it to be similar in form to the dark magic he encountered in Ralstead. This discovery was alarming, and a wave of anxiety rose up. It was firmly attached to him like a leech, yet it remained dormant. Curious, he prodded at the fragment of darkness. Neo's mind became captured and was plunged into a different realm. Any outside observer would only see him residing next to the pool in a state of calm with his eyes closed. But the throes of inner turmoil ravaged his mind, and with his bright eye, he peered down into the depths of the abyss. A vast and endless chasm, completely void of any light. He was overwhelmed with terror, yet he could not look away. After a few moments, the roiling darkness settled.
What is it that you seek? I see you. I know you. Spawn of Enta. I can make you the most powerful in all the realms. All will bow to your strength. None would be able to resist. Come closer. I bring many gifts.
Every word the voice spoke reverberated through his entire being. Entranced, Neo leaned forward, his mind reaching out into the abyss. The darkness was warm and comfortable. Filaments of dark magic began to envelop him, dancing and twirling around, enticing his heart with awful fantasies. Slowly, he descended. But a glimmer of light shimmered within, piercing through the fog in his mind. Realization dawned on him, and suddenly he snapped awake to find himself face down in the pool of water. He remained there, semi-prone, staring at the pool of water in a state of shock and bewilderment. What did he just encounter? Could it be a powerful wizard? No, this had to be something much greater. Once again was that phrase, spawn of Enta. Could it possibly be that he, a lowly peasant from a tiny village, was the descendant of a god? Slowly, he picked himself up and realized that nightfall was merely an hour away. He trudged down the path back to the cabin, his clothes soaking wet, with more questions floating in his mind, and a rising fear that whatever force he encountered may be the antithesis to his supposed progenitor. That night, as Evelyn and Neo convened to enjoy the evening meal, the two were mostly quiet. Evelyn struggled with emotions from the day prior and worried about the future, while Neo puzzled over the remnant of dark magic and what he experienced that day. Fear of the truth held his tongue captive, and he decided to keep it to himself before he knew more. Before they could finish, however, a distant thump was heard through the trees, the hallmark sound of a dragon landing. Together they rushed outside in time to see Maze break through the tree line with haste in his movement.
Oh there, I imagine you're quite curious.
Quite.
It should come as no surprise that the council decided to send a battalion to Rolstead. Troops will rally at an outpost west of town. All of us at our rendezvous with Sir Gordon in 2 days' time.
Why? There was no army last we were there.
No matter. A response in force was deemed necessary to deal with an imminent threat.
So what? This is just an extermination then?
I understand it looks that way. What else would you have us do? You yourself explained that the entire town was lost.
That doesn't make it any better.
I don't like it either, but we have orders. Don't tell me you're going to start your journey as a full mage by defection.
Fine.
Is there any way I can sit this one out?
Unfortunately, no. You both signed that contract.
Well, I guess I'll go fletch more arrows.
Best to prepare. I will do the same.
The next day, Maze and Evelyn rose with the sun, going their separate ways after the morning meal. While Maze read some books and maintained his leather armor, Evelyn expertly worked at fletching more arrows at her workbench by the stable. Neo, who once again struggled with visions and terrors in his sleep, rose a few hours after the others. His limbs felt like cement as he descended the stairs to eat some food. And while he was finishing, Maze walked by, who noted the young mage's withered appearance.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
The old wizard leaned forward and squinted, opening his mind's eye. Neo detected the activation of mana and became irritated.
I said I'm fine. Why can't you just...
There is darkness within you. It seems there yet remains some of that foul magic you encountered. Why didn't you tell me?
I thought I could handle it on my own.
If by that you mean allowing it to tear up your insides, you've done a marvelous job. Come, let's meet in my study and see what we might do about this.
Reluctantly, Neo followed Maze into the other room, where a plethora of books and scrolls were strewn about with notes scribbled in each of them. Using magic to heat some water, Maze quickly prepared a cup of mushroom tea and gave it to Neo.
Drink. It is cleansing to the body.
Ugh, this stuff is nasty, though.
I said drink.
Despite his mounting obstinance, Neo downed the tea, his face shriveling at what he found to be a disagreeable flavor. The hours ticked by, then, as Maze and Neo worked their magic together to diminish the festering darkness in his soul. Many times they tried and failed to eradicate it entirely, as Maze continuously referenced books and scrolls, furthering the room's dishevelment. By afternoon, Neo felt a degree of relief, but not entirely.
My strength fails me. We must stop here.
I do feel a little bit better, but what should I do about this in the future? Am I stuck with this forever?
While this magic is quite intractable, no, you won't have this forever. I am certain we will find a solution as we learn more about it, but...
But?
It may prove to be difficult in combat, and truth be told, we are headed towards total war if Icane can't hold their borders.
I was afraid of that. So what do I do?
Continue to work at it the way I showed you. This will be a daily battle for you.
Great. I guess I'll go meditate.
He left the cabin and trudged towards the ethereal pool, ignoring the exhaustion permeating his body. He felt as if he were moving through honey, as every step down the path took conscious effort. And with every step, his discouragement only grew in size until he plopped down at the edge of the water and buried his face in his hands. There he remained for some time.